Hello, everyone. Welcome to Kingdom Youth Network. I do hope you're having a good day. I'd like to provide you with training today, and our topic for today is problem solving. Now, whatever age you're at, whatever stage of life you're at, you may have encountered some problems. Your problem may be a big problem, it might be a small problem. But here's the thing about problems: when it's your problem, it always seems to look like something huge. But then when you look back with hindsight, when you look back retrospectively, then you have a better perspective because perhaps you've had the opportunity to actually deal with even bigger problems, and then you can see that compared to what you were dealing with, let's say last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that was a small problem. Or perhaps in order to get perspective, you might decide to compare your problem to the problem of somebody else. Maybe you need an iPhone, or you need a new car, but then you look at somebody else who's been walking and walking and walking, or someone who cannot eat any food, or they can only eat once a day because they don't have enough money. Then you're able to have some perspective, and you realize that perhaps your problem is not as big as you thought it was in the first place. So that's a little bit about perspective. But what I'm going to talk to you really today about is problem solving. It's important that you develop the skills of problem solving because Zig Ziglar once said, if you can help enough people get what they want, then you can definitely get what you want. And how do you help people get what they want? You help them get what they want by helping them solve their problems. Now, you may think, do I need to go about solving everybody's problem? It's not necessarily in that context, in that, let's say someone has a financial issue that you have to just give them money, but perhaps you could share with them the skills or the information or lessons that you've learned about money. Maybe you used to spend a lot and you never used to save, but you learned that in order to build wealth, you need to save, you need to invest. And so you've learned certain things and seen results in your life. And so in order to help them solve their financial issue, you share the skills that you have learned. That is a way of helping them solve their problem. So in order to solve problems, it's important that you take the time to think, okay? That's where it starts. It starts by thought. You don't just take action, you take the time to think. What are you thinking about? You're thinking about this problem. You're thinking about how the problem was created in the first place. You trace your steps, look back in the past and figure out, really assess and analyze how that problem came about in the first place. Was it something that you did? Were there other parties involved? When you're looking at the people involved, you're not looking at them from a perspective of blame. You're just looking at them quite analytically to assess what part they played in contributing to the problem that you are facing right now. Okay, so it's not an issue of blame. You're not blaming them, because when you blame a person, you give away your power. Okay, so you think about the people involved, and then you think about your best case scenario. What would you like to see in order to know that that problem has been solved? Think about your best case scenario, and then think about the action steps that you can take in order to bring that best case scenario about. Perhaps you need to learn some new information. Perhaps you need to learn some new skills. Perhaps you need to speak to somebody or a number of people to help point you in the right direction. Once you've taken the time to think all of this through, maybe you need to write down some action points. Write down those action points and then take action. That's the key thing. There's no good just thinking and thinking, because you might think yourself into a depression, and that's going to be of no help to you or to those around you. But when you think, then you take action. And when you take action, then you have a greater chance of seeing your problem solved. When you actually get that problem solved, then you go on to solve another problem. And once you get into the habit of problem solving, then you can then think about solving problems for other people, okay? Because if you have a large number of problems and you don't know how to solve them, then it becomes a little bit more tricky for you to say, okay, let me help you solve your problem. You could, I guess, but you're not doing yourself any favors. So practice first with yourself, and then you can go on to help other people solve their problems. Henry Ford, before the Ford cars came about, people were traveling with horses, but he envisioned a life and a future where there would be something he referred to as the horseless carriage, which we now know as the motor vehicle today. He envisioned that. He was solving the problem of transportation. The Wright brothers, they envisioned a life where people could travel by air, and the aeroplane was created. So it's important that you don't just limit yourself to what has been done, to what you can see right now. Get creative, get really creative. Just because it hasn't been done before doesn't mean that you cannot be the first person to do it. Okay? So in order to solve problems, you do have to be creative. Write down creative ways in which to solve that problem. It might sound crazy to somebody else, but it's creative to you. And then decide on what action steps need to be taken in order to solve that problem. And as you do that, you will find that people probably will come to you and say, look, could you help us solve this problem? Or you might look into the future and envision a problem that people might have and decide, okay, I'm going to solve this problem for people. And when you do that, money will come to you because money follows the problem solver. Okay, so these are my tips for you today. Please feel free to share this video with whoever you think needs to hear it. Until next time, from my heart to yours, do take it easy. Bye.